Now you might be wondering how to set up payments on Tempo. We have a Stripe MCP integration. I'm going to show you how to use it and how simply and easily you can set up payments on your projects. I have Tempo loaded up here, and I'm just going to start with a blank project. We're going to start with a blank Vite project. And I'm going to show you step by step how you set up payments with Stripe. First things first, I'm going to need a backend, and my backend of choice in this case is going to be Supabase. I already have a Supabase account, and I've created an organization, and within that organization, I've created a project. I'm going to use the project Dan here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on Connect Supabase, right? And I'm going to get this authorization pop up. I'm going to authorize Tempo Labs to have access to my Supabase project. So now it's giving me a list of projects. I want to work with the Dan project. So I'm going to connect that real quick. And now we have Supabase set up with our Tempo project. So now I'm going to go to the MCP App Store, which is this right here. And you're going to see that I have no apps installed. I'm going to click on Browse, and I'm just going to search Stripe. And I can see that there is a Stripe MCP integration, a Stripe app. And I'm going to click Install. And it's going to ask you for my secret key. Now, this is a secret key that I get from Stripe. So you're going to go to stripe.com, create an account. There's a bunch of information you're going to have to fill out. And then what we're going to do is we're going to create a sandbox. And a sandbox is basically a test environment for us to build out our functionality on Stripe. And then once we're done and we've tested everything and everything works on Sandbox, we'll then move over to production. So we'll call this, you know what, Violet Rings. That sounds weird. So let's call this Tempo. And we'll just say copy your account. We'll create this sandbox. So now I'm in my sandbox environment. I'm going to search secret keys, and you're going to see the API keys is going to pop up. I'm going to click that there. And this secret key is what I want to copy and paste over at Tempo. Now I'm going to click save. It says connected successfully. If I click close, I'm going to see that my app has successfully been installed. So I now have the Stripe integration successfully installed. Okay, so now let's get to prompting. Let's just build a simple app where I can have some digital products that I can sell, and I can see the transactions stored in a database, and I have webhooks set up to track everything, right? So I've prompted, I want to build an e-com store where I sell my digital products using Stripe. I want to have an admin page where I can create products, and I want to be able to view the products on the home page and generate a checkout. I also want to store the payments in my Supabase database. Let's start with the plan and take it from there. So I'm going to hit enter. We're using Claude 4.0, so it's going to be a fun time. Okay, so we got some response from the AI. It says, perfect, I've successfully set up your e-commerce store with the following components: database structure, edge functions. So if we go to Supabase, we'll see that in the table editor, we'll see some new tables created, which is nice. And then if we go to edge functions, we see some new edge functions just created as well. So it do that. And then it says admin interface, customer storefront, storyboards created. Next step, test the admin page, set up webhook handler, and then add success cancel pages and implement order fulfillment. Okay, so far we've made some decent progress. Let's refresh here. If I click add a product, it takes me to /admin, but I see nothing. All right, so I'm going to go back to Tempo and say, when I go to /admin, I see a blank page. Please add the admin page stuff you mentioned in the /admin route. So, and I see the storyboard here where it's created this component, right? This storyboard. Now I want this to be visible in the /admin route. So that's what I've prompted the AI to do. All right, it says perfect. I've added the admin route. So why don't we go test it out? Let's click on the view button over here. I'll click on admin panel. Okay, it's taking me here. Let's actually create a product. We'll call this Exodus. We'll call this Tempo Test. Price will be $100. We won't have any file. We'll just create product. Let's see if it'll allow us. We got an edge function returned, non-2xx status code. Okay, so let's inspect, go to network, and we're going to create again. And we see the error here. it says Supabase key is required. So my connection with Supabase should have taken care of this. Maybe the AI is tripping. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this error and I'm just going to paste it in Tempo. I'm going to say, I've already connected Supabase to my project. I've already connected Supabase to my project, but I keep getting this error when trying to create a product. Please fix. And we're gonna let the AI take care of it. All right, let's test out creating a product again. I'm just gonna say, I love Tempo. It's gonna be $100 product, create product. And we got a success, product created successfully. So if we go back to our homepage, we see our product here live. Now let's see if checkout works right off bat. And you see that the Stripe checkout popped up. $100, I love Tempo. So I created an admin dashboard where I can create products, and I have in my homepage the ability to pull the products directly from Stripe. And when I click on the buy button or the checkout button, it generates a checkout URL and sends me to Stripe. Now I actually want to check out our database to see what's going on. So I see that in the products table, we have a new product. There's no orders or order items. So why don't we test out checking out? So I'm going to click on buy now. And this is the checkout. I'm just going to enter my email. I'm going to enter this test credit card credentials for Stripe, which is 42, 42, 42, 42, 40. And then just random year and month, random CVV. I'll have my name and then random postal code. And then we're going to click pay. So the payment's been processed. And it redirects me to a success page, but I haven't made the success page, so it's completely blank. And if we go back to our database and let's refresh, actually we don't have any information here. And that's because we need to create a success page in order to show people that their payment has successfully been made, or like a page where it shows that their payment didn't go through. But we also need to create a webhook in order to store the payment information in our database. And I kind of want to explain to you what a webhook is and how it works so you can understand. So this is what's going on right now. You have a user, and the user is going to go to your front end, to your React site. They're going to see all the list of products that you have, and they're going to be like, hey, you know what? I want to buy this product. And when they click the buy now, the front end fires off to the back end a request telling it, hey, someone actually wants to buy our product. This is amazing. In this case, the back end we're using is Supabase, right? We have edge functions. And if you remember, going back to our Supabase dashboard, edge functions, we have a create checkout function. So this edge function fires, right? And if we go back to our whiteboard, this edge function fires. And what this edge function does is it takes us to Stripe, and we see the checkout page. Now, by the time this happens, the user is redirected to Stripe. So they go from our front end from our React site, from our website to Stripe, and they have the option to pay here. So they enter their credit card information on Stripe. When they enter their credit card information, Stripe then is going to redirect them. So the user's on Stripe. Let me get my arrow. Stripe then is going to redirect them back to the front end, right? We went to a success page that was empty. But here's the thing. We need to store this information in our database. We need to store the fact that someone paid and how much they paid and when they paid. This information in our database. We need this information. But so far in this system, the only place this information is stored is in Stripe. But we want this in our database. So what happens is we're going to create a Supabase edge function, an endpoint, an API endpoint called a webhook. And basically what's going to happen is when a payment is successfully made, Stripe is going to fire that information to Supabase, our backend, and Supabase is going to store it in the database. And ironically, the database we're using is also on Supabase, a Postgres database. So that's why even though we made a payment just now on Stripe, we don't have that information in our database because we haven't sent that information to our backend to then store it in our database. So that's what we're going to do. So we're going to go back to Tempo and we're going to say, congrats, this all worked. We now have to create a success page for when the payments go through and a failed page for when they fail. So let's start off with the success and fail page, and then we'll move on to the webhook. So that's what I've prompted the AI to do, and let's let it do it. Okay, so we got a response from the AI, and there are two potential errors. So what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna click fix with AI and let AI fix AI's problems. So let's test out the checkout again to see if the success page and the fail page work. So I'm going to buy this product again, gonna use different email, gonna use the test credit card, random information, click pay, and we should be directed to a success page. It says payment success, return to store, perfect. So I have been brought back to the store. So the success page works. All right, so now that we've made all this progress, why don't we set up a webhook? A webhook is very necessary because when we go to our database table, although products have been created, I don't actually know if anyone is purchased. Now, sure, I'll get Stripe notifications, but it's very important for me as a developer or someone building this application that I have this information in my database. And with a webhook, this is possible. I'm on my AI chat and I'm going to prompt the Tempo AI agent to build me a webhook. So I prompted it here, build me a webhook on Supabase to store all the orders and payments. I'm gonna hit enter and I'm gonna let the Tempo AI agent do its thing. So we see the response here. It says, perfect, I've created a comprehensive Stripe webhook system for you. It shows us the database table Stripe payments has been created. It stores all this information, and it's even given us our webhook URL. I'm gonna show you where you place this in Stripe. It tells you the events we want to track, and it gives us the next steps. And the next steps for us is to go over to Stripe and configure our webhook to test it and to make sure it all works. So let's do that. I'm gonna go to stripe.com. Okay, so now we're logged in on our Stripe account. I'm gonna go to the search bar and I'm just gonna search webhooks. You're gonna see this pop up right here. And then I see this pop up. I'm gonna click on add destination. And it's going to ask me to select the events that I wanna track. Now there's tons of them, I think over 200 events. We wanna track the exact ones the AI has told us. So if I go back to our Tempo app, you're gonna see payment intent succeeded, created, charge succeeded, and charge failed. So that's all the information I want to track. If, for your application, you might want to track more information, so that is completely up to you to do the research. I just want to show you how to set this up. So we're going to track succeeded. We're also going to track canceled, and then charge succeeded and charge failed. So just 4 events. Now, for simplicity's sake, you can literally track all of them, but it might take a second for all the events to propagate. So I wouldn't do that. And then failed. Okay, so we have our 4 events. We're going to click on continue, and then it's going to ask for destination type. We want to select webhook endpoint, continue, and this is where you paste the URL given to you here. So I notice here, and I'm looking at the webhook URL, and it's not correct. And the reason why it's not correct is I'm actually supposed to get this from Supabase. So I'm going to go back to Supabase, going to click on Edge Functions, click on Functions, and then this right here where it says Supabase Function Stripe Webhook, the one that was deployed 5 minutes ago, this is the URL I want to copy. So I copy this, go back to Stripe, and I'll paste this here, and then we can call this Test Tempo Webhook. And I'm going to click Create Destination. This is going to set up our webhook. So now that that's all done, let's go back to our Tempo app and let's test our webhook. Let's see if it worked. So I have this product here. I'm going to buy this, and I'm going to use the Stripe test credit card, which is 42, 42, 42, 42. And then the rest of the numbers don't really matter. And we're going to make a payment. Let's see that this works. So the payment is successful. Let's click return to store. Now the moment of truth, let's go back to Supabase. So we notice nothing is entered the DB. So that means the webhook did not work. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back to Stripe, and you're going to go to your webhook, and you're going to see this overview tab. I want you to click on webhooks, and then you're going to see we got a bunch of 500 errors here. So what you're going to do is you're literally going to copy the HTTP status code response right here. You're going to go back to Tempo and say, I got this error with the Stripe webhook on Stripe. Please fix. And I'm just going to paste the error. And I'm going to let the Tempo AI agent fix this. So we see that the AI has responded, and it's telling me that there are some required environment variables that I need to put in my Supabase Edge function, the Stripe secret key and the Stripe webhook secret. And that's fantastic. So we're going to go back to our Edge functions, click on function, Stripe webhook, and if I go to the code, I'll see that I need the Stripe secret key, and I also need the Stripe webhook secret. So let's go to secrets and let's add these one by one. So I'm going to go back to Tempo, copy Stripe secret, paste this here. I'm going to go back to Stripe, and you can literally search API keys, and we'll just lower this right here, and this is your secret key. So I'm going to copy this, paste this right here. Let's add another one. We're going to go back to Stripe, pop open the webhooks tab, and we're going to go to overview. So we're going to go webhooks and overview. We're going to copy this signing secret right here. And I'm going to paste this, and the name of the variable should be Stripe webhook secret. So let's paste that over here and hit save. So now our webhook endpoint should work. I'm going to refresh our app. I'm going to buy this product, enter in our email, our test credit card, random credentials, and now our Stripe webhook should be working. All right, so we see that the payment is successful. We can click return to store. Now, if I go to my DB, I see that there are two entries. I see payment intent succeeded and charge succeeded. So I am now tracking my users' payments in my DB. And then again, you can track all the events that you want. I just wanted to show you a very simplified version on how to set this up. And then if I go to Stripe and I click refresh here, I can see the 200 events, the events that succeeded. And ladies and gents, we built a full digital e-commerce store where we can create products, where we can buy products, and we can also track our user spending. And that is how you use the Stripe MCP app using Tempo and the Tempo AI agent. I hope this tutorial is helpful. If you have any questions, please let us know. We're happy to help. We're super excited to see what you build.